Hey guys, we are back. Wrestling video, wrestling channel. Will eventually need to give this show some type of name. You're going to get lucky this week if you like actually watching these videos from me. You're going to get two of them. This is because I wanted to A, shorten the videos, and B, because I had two titles in mind. Now, if I tell you the second title is related to me talking about the WWE deciding to do WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, then you'll understand, because I know a lot of people will be interested in my views on that in particular. Also have a little bit of inside information about it, and that in itself needs to be an individual video, and this needs to be an individual video. This title, which I'm hoping draws a lot of clicks, needed to be an individual video. So let's get straight into it. Before I do though, let me let you know I've not been able to watch Raw this week, and I don't know what the follow-up was to last Monday's Raw, where people chanted therapy. Reason being is because Netflix, and I don't know if it's across all of Europe, but it is the case in the UK, Netflix have uploaded a version of Raw, and again, I don't know if this was the case live, but Netflix have uploaded a Raw that is not visible to anybody. It is a black screen with audio. Now, I've checked this on my phone, I've checked this on my iPad, I've checked this on my laptop, I've checked this on my other TVs, I've checked this at my son's house, so we're looking at a different IP address. I've checked it on 5G, I've checked it on 4G. I cannot watch this episode of Raw on Netflix. But when you look at the comments on social media, not a lot of people are commenting on this. So either I am in a very unique situation where my account and my son's accounts have been individually ostracized and can't watch the WWE this week. Either that, or there are a certain number of people, a certain section of people who can't watch Raw for whatever reason. Certain accounts can't see it, or all of these accounts can't see it. And the reason why it's not being commented on social media is because the belief that a lot of people have about how WWE fans consume WWE content is in fact true. And the reason it's not been noticed that people can't watch this on Netflix is because a lot of people nowadays don't consume their content via watching a full episode of Raw on Netflix. Now, that is concerning. If I was the WWE, if I was Netflix, I'd be massively concerned that the comment section are not flooded with complaints telling Netflix that they cannot see the show. Now, I would like to think that if Netflix had realized this through mass complaints, they would immediately address the problem. Yet here we are, I'm recording this on Wednesday morning, and Netflix have failed to address the issue. Now, I've tried to log into my account, log out after logging out of my account. I've tried it on multiple devices. I've tried refreshes. I've tried everything. I've even told my son to double check on his Netflix, which is a separate account, by the way, because his mum has Netflix at her house and he logs into that one. And there is no WWE Raw visible to any of us. And this is not a prominent comment in the comments. And therefore, I believe it's not in Netflix's radar, which is concerning to me, because it tells you that not enough people digest their content via Netflix, and they do rely on the YouTube clips or whatever goes out on Instagram. And the other concern would be that people have noticed and they don't give a shit enough to actually bother complaining, and they've decided that WWE and Raw is not important to me enough for me to put it up on social media, and therefore I will now turn to digesting the content via YouTube and via Instagram. And if you find that to be adequate and you find that you haven't missed anything, could that potentially lead to a trend? Could the WWE and could Netflix be making people into casual viewers by not addressing this issue with this episode? I don't know, we'll have to see. But what I do know is it's Wednesday and I haven't been able to watch Raw, and I've not missed an episode of Raw since I got Sky in 1993. Even the episodes I missed while I was in the Big Brother house, I sat down and gave an entire day to catching up with every single Raw and every single SmackDown. And that's how much of a mark I was and am. So yeah, this is annoying me. I want to watch this full episode of Raw, even though I primarily do now watch Raw in the background and work through it by being on my phone or whatever. I still have that completist mentality where I need to watch Raw. So please, please, please head to the comments and let me know if you can watch Raw. If you watched it live, it doesn't count, but I will be interested to know if you could watch it live. And what is the issue with this episode? Is it visible on your account? If it is, do you know someone whose account it's not visible on? Was this just an issue with a certain number of Netflix accounts? Is it just my account and my son's mum's account conveniently playing up? Or is this a widespread problem? I think it's a widespread problem because I did see some comments pointing out to it, but it wasn't like a flood. I'm expecting a flood. If you can't see the show, then flood Netflix with the comments and they will fix it probably within an hour. But here we are on Wednesday and it hasn't been fixed. So let's circle back to the main point on this video and the title, Therapy, the saddest thing I've ever heard chanted at a wrestling show. What does this chant say about the modern day wrestling audience, that they would chant therapy? Men in their thousands and hundreds, if we're being if we're downscaling, but I think in their thousands eventually, chanting therapy, chanting the chant therapy loud and clear at a wrestling show. What does that say about this current wrestling audience? Well, it tells me that what wrestling is now attracting is this soft left liberal audience, this rainbow-haired leftist apologetic cancel culture audience who cannot deal with their problems, cannot deal with their lives. We're not looking at masculine, testosterone-fueled men who used to watch this product when we're looking back to the Attitude Era, when we're looking at men who wanted TNA and violence and good storylines and who were behind Stone Cold Steve Austin drinking his beers and being in a feud with Vince McMahon and saw their boss as the bad guy. No, we have moved across to this fan base primarily being these lefty, soft liberal lefties who will chant therapy and who will proudly support therapy and will acknowledge to that wider world that they are a fan of or have been into therapy. This was not cool. These fans are not cool, and it tells me that wrestling is no longer cool. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that there's something fundamentally wrong with going into therapy, but I am saying it's something that you probably want to keep to yourself. If you're a real man with some issues that you need to turn to therapy for because you can't deal with them by yourself, as I still believe that men should. I'm not in line with this whole, oh, let's all talk about it, let's all share our problems, let's all advocate for mental health. Because whilst I do believe that mental health is a real thing, I don't believe that mental health should be an excuse for all of your problems and all of your failures and all of this newfound inability to actually be able to deal with shit. As men, we actually need to be able to deal with our problems. As men, we need to be able to problem solve. We need to be able to see a problem. We need to be able to find these solutions. These are skills that men need to inherently develop in order to survive in the modern day world. We cannot turn to excuses, and if we cannot deal with these issues, then we need to turn to therapy. But it cannot be an automatic where therapy is just there as a solution or as an excuse for all of the things that we cannot seem to deal with now as men. It seems to be so easy to say that, yes, I have mental health problems and I cannot deal with my issues. It's a weakness. It's a weakness if you don't even try. Now, if we're dealing with something significant, if we're dealing with a loss of a job and you're really struggling with how you're going to pay your bills, if we're dealing with the end of a relationship that ended in a horrible way, be it someone cheating on you, a divorce that leaves you in a poor financial situation, the death of that person, the death of any loved one, a parent, a sibling, a child, then by all means, I understand the need to go to therapy. But as men, we have become weak. As men, we have become pathetic. And I'm not trying to sit here and be a long-haired, poor man's version of Andrew Tate. But if you listen what Tate has to say, he's almost 100% right on everything. And one of the things he points out a lot is the weakness of the modern day man. And this has been highlighted by the fact that we have men in public, ticket buying men, openly chanting for therapy with no fucking shame. They just stood there and chanted therapy with no shame. And that kind of tells you how we have navigated towards this soft, left, liberal, rainbow-haired loser audience. And for me, it was a significant moment where I really felt to myself, wow, I really don't align with this fan base. If this is the fan base and this is what we're doing, and we're now openly advocating for therapy, not as a problem, not as a solution to a significant problem where all other avenues have been explored, where it's just absolute desperation, life or death, I cannot cope, I must go to therapy, I need to get this outside help to help me, and to the point where there is no other solution, then I understand therapy. But I would always be someone who, as a man, would want to keep that as a secret. Now, within myself, if I was to have these private conversations and I was talking to a friend who is dealing with one of the significant problems that I listed, then I would say to my friend, you probably need to go to therapy. After you've been to your friends, which would be my first port and call, because that's the point of having friends, because real male relationships at their core allow you to be able to discuss these issues and to be able to problem solve them together. That is the nucleus of a real friendship group. Once all else fails, then go to therapy, but keep it to yourself. Don't be some kind of liberal woke pussy who goes out there and chants therapy with a group of other liberal woke pussies to the point where you've got thousands of you chanting when AJ Lee said that she went to therapy. It was a terrible promo. It was horrible. I gave her credit last week. I buried Vince Russo because I said he didn't like anything, and I stood up for the segment. I felt that it was well built up. Becky Lynch's work throughout has been phenomenal. She was even good last week on the segment where AJ Lee got the crowd to chant therapy, but the segment overall was poor, and for me, that was the moment that ruined it. If you're a man, be a man, deal with your shit, or at least try. Don't be this weak little man who clings on to mental health because everybody else is clinging on to mental health, or turning around and saying, oh, I have undiagnosed ADHD. That's why I can't deal with my problems. You're a fucking pussy. You need to man up and be a man and deal with your issues. You don't need to turn around and find excuses and then get to therapy as quick as you possibly can and then chant for it at a wrestling show because some chick standing in the middle of the ring couldn't deal with her issues, even though her and her husband have got unlimited money, and really what she should do with her life is go and have a bunch of kids, because that's what women are supposed to do. That's what women are conditioned to do. That's the whole point of male and female relationships. That's why we're here on this earth, ultimately to reproduce, even if these losers tell you that it won't. And I even say the same thing to Cav. I tell Cav, your life is pointless. You need to sort your shit out. You need to have a kid. I don't think any man should be here without the purpose of reproducing at some point. Obviously, if you're in a situation where you're going to be a financial burden to the state or to your, in our case, to your councils, and you're going to need to claim a whole bunch of benefits because you couldn't afford to have those kids, then you've got other issues. You need to sort your life out. You need to become, you need to put yourself in a financial situation where you can have those kids, 100%. But if you're financially capable of having kids like Cav or like CM Punk and AJ Lee, then go and have some kids and sort your life out that way. Give yourself a purpose, give yourself something to live for, and you'll immediately know how much better you feel with an actual purpose as a mother. But instead, she turned to therapy. spoke about it openly. I felt that it was embarrassing. I don't see her as any kind of role model whatsoever. And I think the men, the men who should have red blood and testosterone in their bodies, who should be looking to looking to marry, to provide for these women and have these kids and be able to be the man of the house, these are the men who were chanting therapy. I don't hold much hope for them. I don't hold out much hope for the next generation. This was embarrassing. This really highlighted how low we've gone as wrestling fans. And I want to know in the comments, are you somebody who would have been in that crowd? And would you have chanted for therapy? And if you are, then you probably shouldn't be watching my videos. And you're probably the type of cuck who's hate watching them, such as... do you know what? I'm not even going to go there. Not going to name names. I'm going to take the higher ground. So that's it for me and this particular video. I'm going to be doing another one where I'm going to be talking specifically about WrestleMania. So be sure to check it out.